Up here in the top left-hand corner, we have IU Mad because you bad spawning in as the purple Proton or as the purple Zerg yet again for Team Crafty, and over here we have BSK Loki as the yellow Protoss
Ooh, and there's
for
a
Team
pause.
Berserker Team B. And we have a pause, please.
Yeah, so
But
we
yeah,
did see Team Crafty has won 2 games so far in this best of 7 thanks to Mad, and Loki is going to be Berserker's hope for continuing on, as Mad has to win 2 more games to win this series for his team.
yeah, and if Mad wins all 4 games, that's kind of that's huge for a player. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. So we have a little bit of a pause here. We are doing these games live, which is very exciting. You can check us out at the stream, but these are also going to be VODed and put up on the YouTube channel, which is very, very cool. But we have
Indeed
this
it
game
is.
going again, so Boisterous, you usually ask me about the maps. What's your thoughts on Antigua?
I think Antigua is actually more in favor of the Protoss than the Zerg. Actually, I don't know. In these positions, it's kind of awkward because usually I would say that the player on the left has better positioning because they can reach their opponent's third easier through those backdoor rocks. However, I still think that I prefer to play Protoss and Antigua, so I'm leaning towards like the Protoss sided. So I think this is actually like the most even positioning I can see, with the Protoss kind of in the weaker spot, but of course, Antigua being a stronger Protoss map.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be the devil's advocate just for fun. I think that if you are playing a PvZ in particular and you're a Zerg player, this third is very, very close to your natural. And so it's a map like Daybreak where you can very, very easily take a third if needed and be fine and be able to do that awesome DRG Roach push thing. So in that sense, I do think that the map uh, kind of favors Zerg as far as the bases are concerned. I don't really know how everything else plays out, but as far as just the third is concerned, I think the third benefits the Zerg player more than the Protoss.
I actually think a key difference between this map and Antigua Shipyard is the fact that when you come up, you have 2 choices on the bases to go for, and you can completely force field somebody's natural and then snipe their third. Or if their army's in the third, you can force field their third and then snipe their natural and their main.
That's true.
Like that is I think that's probably the biggest difference that makes this map Protoss favored is the fact that you can make that choice at the last second. Your opponent does not know which base you're going to be swinging for until you start swinging for it.
Yeah.
So their army is kind of forced into this awkward positioning where they don't get a high ground advantage if they don't want you to snipe off one of their bases because they need to be on that low ground. Otherwise, you can just make a choice and snipe one base.
Yeah. I want to make note real quick of how much of a baller Loki is. Oh, well, never mind. He
I think he went Nexus first.
he could have completely denied this third, but he wasn't paying
Uh,
attention to the probe. A lot of players make that mistake. It's definitely not anything that that he could have held that off for like maybe 10-15 seconds longer.
Well, I still think Loki's a boss mainly because he went Nexus first, and I know that I'm usually only a proponent of 15 hatching. However, going going your main structure first in any game mode is awesome. I love people that do that. It always leads to the longer kind of riskier games, especially if your opponent's doing the exact same thing, which Mad is doing. And I like those longer kind of macro games.
Yeah, I do too. They're very fun. I also like a lot of early game pressure. I like all types of StarCraft games. Looks like some Zerglings are in the front of Loki's base, and hopefully they'll be poking up soon just to see that the wall's complete and then backing off. Yeah, just rallying with some more Zerglings. They will be able to slip in. Oh, maybe not. The pylon doing... Actually, this is a complete wall, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a complete wall.
Wow.
I wonder what building he's gonna take down. He might take down the cannon, maybe that bottom pylon,
I don't know.
because his other 3 structures are kind of big.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he could also take down the forge.
Yeah, the Forge isn't a huge loss. It is very, very interesting. Maybe he didn't mean to do that. Another thing I'd like to say real quick, just get this out in the open. It is so fun casting a game where I get to say Loki. I just love that, by the way. So Loki, props for having an awesome name, because the Avengers was great. Everyone should go see it, and it's fun saying Loki.
All right. Well, it would appear that Mad, his third is done. His natural is actually about to finish. He's rallying a queen up to his natural. Actually, he has quite a few queens. Does he?
Yes.
No, he has the right amount of queens. I thought he made another queen on top of the queen he already had an extra of. And Matt is actually doing much better on his larva injects this game than he did last game.
Yeah. Perhaps he just made note of that in between games. And that's a good thing to notice is like what did you do wrong and what should I do better in the next game. And so Larva injects one of those things and he is improving upon it. However, his third queen is not at his natural. It is just now moving across very, very slowly. And it will get there and start its injects as well here pretty shortly. Um, could also start to get creep spread going perhaps.
It would appear that Loki is building plenty of sentries, which is very good in this situation because you do not want to get Baneling busted as
No,
Protoss.
you do not. But I don't think that I'm mad because you bad wants to do that. Um, because he is getting that Roach Warren. So once again, just going for the super solid DRG play. It can get you to the finals of 3 GSLs, so don't sweat it. And he is going to be killing the bottom pylon in order to get out of his base.
Yeah, it does actually make a lot of sense to me. I'm surprised he's breaking it so early, I would say, though. I actually... What's this probe doing? It's going to get completely stopped by the Zergling Brigade. Blockade. There we go. That was the word I was looking for.
Ooh, Zerglet, or Probe, come on, Probe, come on, Probe. Oh, what a baller
Oh,
probe.
nice force field.
Oh, man.
A great force field by that sentry.
5 hit points. If it had just gotten hit like one more time, it would have been done. Yeah, it would have been done as Zerglings do 5 damage, so yeah, super baller probe right there.
I actually think it would have been way more baller if it actually just continued to run till his Zerg space and got a full scout off.
Well, yeah, that would have been the ultimate.
He just didn't care. Yeah. But, you know, not every probe can be completely BA.
No probes are water bears, so water bear don't care.
God. Oh, God. I'm not letting you slip us back into this conversation. We do have a bit of oversaturation at the natural, and actually a bit of undersaturation at the third. I'm surprised. He should probably transfer some units down there. However, actually with the gas geysers, I guess it's really not that bad.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. He'll also probably be producing some buildings like the Hydralisk Den. Might put down a Spire as he is getting that layer up, and eventually he'll want to switch into Broodlords like he did in game number 2. So I'm not too worried about that. Looks like Loki is going to be putting down a lot more gateways. He does have 6 in his base now as well as the additional one up front. Looks like he wants to be pushing out. However, he just only has sentries, and if he doesn't get good force fields off, roaches will kill sentries very quickly.
Yeah, but I feel that any player that just goes for this kind of really very solid sentry play knows how to place force fields. Like, they are good at it. At least most people are. Because if you aren't, then you don't go for sentries. You go for actual beefier units that are reasonable at fighting.
Yeah.
Whereas the sentry is really just there for force fields. And a sentry can fight units much stronger than it because of force fields. However, it's not specialized for that.
Yeah.
It would appear that Loki is going for kind of like the redundancy pylons,
Yeah.
making sure that none of them get snipes all too fast. And this is exactly the situation I'm talking about. You see how he has 7 sentries? Yep. These roaches need to be on the low ground. They were kind of in the third there, and
they could have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. And I actually think they are in a lot of trouble right now. These are beautiful force fields.
Yeah, the force fields are good. However, he really needs to make use of them. He's kind of pulling his army back. He could have gotten some nice hits off on those roaches. However, he is going to be warping in some more stalkers.
Yeah, and this Protoss army is getting quite frightening, especially considering the fact that he didn't even use up like half his force fields in that last engagement. And it looks like he might... I'm almost tempted to say he might just win outright right now. Because these force fields are kind of fantastic, and they're abundant currently still.
Yeah.
There's beautiful reinforcements from Mad,
Oh
though.
yeah, Mad did a great job.
Just back.
One thing that I liked by Mad is he kept kind of baiting the force fields and forcing them. So now the sentries are actually a little bit lower on energy. In fact, they can't cast any force fields at all right now. So he was able...
He actually managed to snipe off a lot.
Yeah.
There's only 2 sentries left out of 7.
Yeah, he was able to do a great job at just baiting those force fields, backing up, pushing forward, backing up, kind of getting Loki uneasy about trying to engage at any point in time. And now that he has these Hydralisks, now that he has, you know, all this very, very nice creep spread, Matt is looking great.
Yeah, that was kind of an awkward situation for both players because the Protoss definitely he had the upper hand for a little bit there. However, the third base reproduction of Mad just let him really push ahead. I feel like if those proxy pylons had been a bit closer, he might have been able to keep that pressure up a little bit longer, or if he had had more gateways, because he's not exactly like pushing on the edge of all in as far as gateways go. I think he could put up like two more and then have gone for that attack and done a lot better with it. However, still his army is both of these armies are actually freaking massive at this point. Mad is at max.
Yeah, he is. That is definitely a DRG characteristic.
Yeah, 14-minute max, especially considering the fact that he also went for Hydralisks. Like, this isn't even just a straight Roach play. This is Hydralisk Roaches, and he has +1 attack.
Yeah. +2 on the way.
And +2 attack on the way, yeah. It would appear that BSK Loki has learned from the Protoss Church of Cadoink, win behind Dark Shrine.
He's putting that Dark Shrine down. It looks like Matt does not want to engage right there, so he will be pulling around. Actually, he might get a really good engagement right now, forcing those units to go up the third. Ooh, but some nice force fields going down, catching some Roaches off guard, and the Hydralisk not able to do anything.
Do these Hydra groups spawned yet?
What?
These Hydras actually still don't have grouped spines.
No, they don't. Matt, you need to build that grooved spines. Looks like the Roaches, ooh, a few of them getting caught off guard, but he is going up into the natural, picking off. Wow, picking off the Cybernetics core. Even if he loses his army, that could be huge, as he'll have to put down another one.
Yeah, he's also supply blocking Loki actually quite deeply. Loki's 8 supply behind, and one of his pylons that he was building gets sniped off. Mad has 17 Roaches on the way currently. He's gonna definitely get this natural.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any way for Loki to defend it, and that's not a situation you want to be in as a Protoss player at this point, because his army is going to win this fight, I think. However, with these 17 Roaches on the way, it's gonna be risque over the next couple
very
months.
nice blink micro by Loki, able to pick off all those Hydralisks. Just some awesome blinks. Look how low a lot of his stalkers are. Many of them in the red, a few of them in the orange, and then a few of them took a lot of shield damage. So, just great play by Loki. He did actually kind of force-filled his own army out of his natural at some point, which was a huge blunder in my opinion. But man, that blink micro was just sick.
Yeah, and Mad is... I'm actually surprised he didn't send this force over at the same time as that his force was in the natural. Because if he'd come up and sandwiched Loki's army, there wouldn't have been any blink micro. He would not have been able to do it.
However, there's no real need. He took the natural, and now he's just pulling back and making sure he has his base defended, you know? Because sometimes a player will get too over-eager and just keep pushing, and then the Protoss player will just barely hold on, and then Mad makes a big mistake and ends up losing. So I like this, because now he's pushing with a much stronger force.
Yeah, and there's only like 37 army supply on Loki's side, and that's not a whole lot of army supply. He gets a couple of really nice force fields off, forcing those units into a choke. However, even with a Colossus, and this Colossus does not have Thermal Lance, and is it going to get sniped? It actually manages to live for like 2 extra seconds. But there goes the last of the army from Loki and the GG. So it looks like Mad is actually going up 3-0 versus Berserker's Team B. He's doing a really nice job.
Just an incredible player. Congratulations, Mad, for taking 3 games for Team Crafty. Loki, you played very valiantly, some very good early game stuff, but just couldn't hold on later on. So yeah, we'll see you guys in game number 4.